Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Programming with a Purpose. So I am continuing with the animation series in which I am going to show you how you can animate different type of graphs like histogram, circular progress bar, line graphs and scatter plots. So let's start first with the histogram view or a bar view. So here I am going to create first import the charts. I am going to create a struct with the name of profit which is going to extend identifiable. So I am going to add a property with the name ID which is basically uuid string, then a department, and then profit, which is basically of type double. Most of the properties that we plot on the graph are basically of the type double. So here I am going to create a struct histogram view, which is going to extend the type view. So now here I am going to basically pass this histogram view inside the graph animation view. I'm going to pass all of the views here to see that how they are going to look like in the preview on the right hand side. So I'm going to iterate over the data, but I haven't mentioned any data here. So first add some static data here. I have copied this data from a website that I'm going to post in the description box. So next I'm going to create the UI inside the body. The first I'm going to create a chart, and after that I'm going to iterate over the data dot indices, and with each index I'm going to plot an x value on the x-axis and y-axis. So I'm going to use the built-in bar mark from the library charts. So in x I'm going to pass the department, and on y-axis profit will be plotted. So copy all of this code and let's see how the graph looks like once we add the x-axis and y-axis. So now here you can see on the right hand side in the preview the graph looks like this, and we are going to basically cut down its height so that it looks better. So here I passed the frame height which is 400, and after that I am going to basically set the Y scale with a domain. You can also set the X scale in domain as well in certain cases where the x-axis is passing numbers. So basically it will help you to animate the graph better. I'm going to show you towards the end of this video how this is going to help you to improve the animation. So here I'm passing the graph animation to content view so that I'll be able to run the code inside simulator. So here this is how the graph looks like. But we need not a histogram but an animated histogram. So what I am going to do here is basically I am going to pass a y-axis with three values because our data consists of three indices. So 0, 0, 0 for the profit. So I'm going to pass it here. For that purpose, I've iterated with the data dot indices here on line number 27. After that, on appear, I'm going to animate this graph with animation with a certain basically animation which is ease in out with duration and a delay. Delay is important because if you do not add the delay, the graph will be animated when the user will be not able to see it. So put some delay so that when the user goes to that view, it takes some time to get animated. And after that, I'm passing the self dot data with mapping the profit array inside the y-axis. So after that, you can see on the right hand side that the data is animated properly. You can run the code in the simulator as well. So now I'm going to move on to a circular fill animation view, which is basically a very common view that is used in Swift apps, iOS apps, as well as in Android apps, in which you are going to show the progress in the form of a circular bar or a straight bar, and you need to animate it. I've shown you previously this animation inside a lot of my videos, but I want to basically make a comprehensive video of graphs, so I've added it here. So you are going to create some of the properties inside the circular fill animation view. I've accidentally added them to graph animation, so I'm going to cut and paste them and move to circular fill animation view. So first is the progress, which means that how much of the area of the circular graph will be filled then a current count, which is going to basically move over the graph to animate it. Value variable will not be used inside our code. You can ignore it if you want. So first I've set a text with a certain font and size and a foreground color. So this is going to display your progress inside a numerical basically form, in the form of a number. So then a circle with a certain stroke, and then another circle on the top of it to basically represent how much of the area should be filled. So I'm setting here some of its UI properties like opacity, foreground color. After that, I'm going to add another circle and I'm going to trim it from 0 to a certain point, which will basically be our current count divided by 100, or our progress. So this is our circle fill. After that, I'm going to add a stroke here with the width slightly greater than the width that I've set for the unfilled circle in the background, and line cap with dot round to make it a little bit more presentable. And then a rotation effect, which basically tells you in which direction it is going to be filled. So I've set it to -90. You can add different angles here and see how it will work. Then I'm going to add a frame width and height to basically reduce its size, and on appear I'm going to add a certain animation. So I'm going to add a current count to 50 or 100 to basically see how it's going to look like on the right hand side inside the graph. Now let's write a function that is going to update our graph as well as a view. So I'm going to use a timer for that. So here I've created a function with the name of start count up animation. I have scheduled a timer with a time interval of 0.05. It is going to increment a value and it can reach a certain point. So when current count is less than progress multiplied by 100, the current count is basically added one by one. So here I've set the progress to 0.5 to basically show you how it is going to move from 0 to 50. You can add a percentage sign in addition to 50, so basically to show you what is the progress. And now it is going to move to 30%. So this is how the animation fill will work inside a circle with this code. You can add a separate animation inside the circle as well, but with a text animation and a circle animation that are separated, a glitch will happen. So to avoid that, I've written one function that is going to have basically control both of these things. Next, I am going to create another struct because I am going to plot a line graph with using the line mark. So basically this struct is subscribers, which is again extended identifiable. It has an ID, account, and a certain day, which means that on a certain day, what is the count of the subscribers. So this is the data that you are going to add manually from this video, and some data points that I'm adding here. So this is some of the dummy data here. You can use any other example that basically corresponds to a line graph according to your use. So here I'm adding day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a certain number of subscribers in a range. And after that, I'm going to basically start writing the code. But the main theme will be the same, which means that there'll be a y-axis that are initially set to 0, 0, 0, and that will be provided a value on dot on appear or a clicking of a button. Basically, it will be an event driven function. and that code will be executed once we get there. I have added all of the animations inside dot on appear because this is usually what, which is basically the practical aspect of it. We usually start animating the graph as it appears on the view. So there is a line mark, just like a bar mark. A line mark is used here from the charts library. So I'm adding here the x-axis and a y-axis at a certain index, which is basically iterated when I've iterated the y-axis. And I'm going to add this value of y here, which are basically the number of subscribers stored in the property count. But since we want to animate it, we are going to pass the y-axis index initially. And in dot on appear, we are going to pass y, the value of basically count inside subscribers, to this y-axis. Again, I'm going to set a frame height basically to make it more presentable, and a chart YScale to set a domain. Next, I'm also going to set a chart XScale because the values are in numeric form, so 1 to 6, and a padding is added. Now let's add the code for the animation. So again, the ease in out for a certain duration and a delay, and let's update the y-axis. So these are the data points that are updated inside the y-axis. And you are going to see on the right hand side that the graph is now animated and the values are moved according to their certain values inside the count property of subscribers. So this is how it is going to be animated. You can play it in the simulator as well to see that how the animation looks like. It is taking some time. So this is how it's going to look like inside the simulator. So we are done with the animation of 3 type of graphs. Now the last one is basically a scatter plot. And for that, I'm going to use the struct insect, which is mentioned inside the Apple developer website. I'm going to post the link in the description box. You can copy the struct from there and extend it with the type of identifiable. And also there is certain data present on that screen. You can copy the static data from there as well for this example. So copy all of this code and let's start developing the scatter plot along with its animation. So this is the data that I have copied. Now let's start writing the struct plot view, which is going to extend the view. Again, I'm going to use the charts library, just like my previous examples. But here, since the data is going to be animated along both of the axes, so let's see how we are going to create the axes. You can either initialize them as 0, 0, or you can make them move to a certain values randomly. So that is going to make the animation more vibrant. I'm going to show both of these approaches here, and you can select from any of the approach. It's good that the values are randomly placed at certain locations and then move to actual location when we are going to load this view. So these are the x-axis. So these are basically 6 values are initialized in the range of 1 to 60. So after that, I'm going to use the chart, which is going to basically iterate over the data in for each statement. So in for each, you can move over the data in x-axis or y-axis and plot the data there. So here I'm passing x as basically the wing length and wing width of an insect as y-axis. So I have passed my x-axis and y-axis properties here with a certain index that I'm getting by iterating over the data, and a foreground style which is going to basically color it with different colors depending upon the family. So I have passed another value here which is family. Data index dot family is going to basically color it with a different color. So you are going to see on the right hand side that different points are colored with like different colors. So now I'm going to set a frame height like my previous graphs with a height of 400 to limit it and a certain padding. Now here I'm going to pass the chart XScale and YScale with a certain domain. And I'm going to show you with this example why it is necessary to set a domain. It is going to animate the graph better. So here on appear, I'm going to add the animation code in which I'm going to pass basically the values of x-axis and y-axis from the data. So here I've passed the appropriate values from the data inside the x-axis and y-axis. And when I'm going to play the code, you can see here that the values are animated properly. So this is what we are going to achieve through a scatter plot animation. So the values are moved randomly to certain positions. Now I'm going to show you the effect of not initializing the chart scale as well as setting the values to 0, 0 inside the scatter plot. So let's comment out the scales that I have set. And on the preview, you are going to see a problem that not only the points are animated, but the graph is also animated. But we just want the points to get animated. So for that, it's good that you have set a chart scale previously. So you need to set this. Otherwise, the chart scale is going to be updated as the points are updated, which will do not look nicer. So this is why we need to set a domain for x and y scale. Now after that, I'm going to set x-axis and y-axis to 0, 0, 0 to show you that if the values are on the origin, how they are going to be animated. So here I've set the x-axis and y-axis to 0, 0, 0. And you are going to see that the values are basically seems like popping up from a single point. So it does not look as good as compared to the values that are basically randomly placed and then moved to certain locations. So you can basically achieve this animation in any of the way you want. I like basically personally the randomized values view. So this is all for the animation of graphs. We have discussed 4 types of graphs. I hope you have learned something from it and you are going to use it inside your code. If there is any questions or queries, post in the comment section. Do not forget to like this video, share it with your friends, and do not forget to subscribe to my channel. And stay tuned for some other animation videos. Thanks for watching.